Hey guys, my name is Nora Franch, and welcome to the podcast Grateful Blessed Mess, daily reflections for those in the 12 steps. I am a fellow 12-stepper and certified mindset coach, and I am here to introduce you to the value of mindset coaching in your 12-step journey. So if you feel like you are stuck in the steps, if you're slipping and sliding with your abstinence, mindset coaching may help you as it did me, and you can find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. These episodes are meant to invite you in to consider the truths of 12-step wisdom and to join in the very real struggle of living them in action. I hope that it feels almost like a mini meeting, and I invite you to contribute your own share on the Grateful Blessed Mess Facebook group to keep the discussion going. My comments are based on my own experience, so feel free to take what you like and leave the rest. But my hope is to encourage you on your own daily 12-step journey. As they say, you cannot stay clean on yesterday's shower. So without further ado, let's begin. Hey guys, we are reading from Daily Reflections, page 180, Release from Fear. The problem of resolving fear has two aspects. We shall have to try for all the freedom from fear that is possible for us to attain. Then we shall need to find both the courage and grace to deal constructively with whatever fear remains. That's from his Bill C's at page 61. That's amazing. Most of my decisions were based on fear. Alcohol made life easier to face, but the time came when alcohol was no longer an alternative to fear. One of the greatest gifts in AA for me has been the courage to take action, which I can do with God's help. After 5 years of sobriety, I had to deal with a heavy dose of fear. God put the people in my life to help me do that. And through working the 12 steps, I am becoming a whole person, one that I wish to be. And for that, I'm deeply grateful. Yeah, this thing about fear is twofold. Fear can be extremely helpful and useful and reasonable, and then it can be paralyzing. And so when we notice we're in fear, it's really important that we figure out, is this like prudent fear? Like if your life is in danger, it makes sense to be afraid. If something is very demanding of you or requires a heavy amount of risk, it is like ordered to have a certain amount of fear. However, when fear takes you to a place of feeling paralyzed, like a deer in the headlights, of indecision, of if you feel like triggered into fight or flight, or fawn or freeze, right? There's 4: fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Chances are you're in an unhealthy form of fear. So there's healthy fear and unhealthy fear. And usually when we're in unhealthy fear, that's where that nervousness, restlessness, irritability, discontent, anxiety, lashing out, starting to do things and you don't even know why you're doing it. And that all comes from the unhealthy fear. And I have a working theory that I've yet to pitch to anyone with any that I've yet to pitch to anyone. And I just have this idea, and that fear is the foundation of all vice. That, whether it's healthy fear and we end up over responding, or unhealthy fear and we just become like a nervous wreck at the mercy of our emotions, or whether we're so afraid that we feel like we just have to do it all ourselves and take the bull by the horns and we become very domineering. I have this idea, and someone please tell me, like, oh yeah, this great so-and-so or not so great so-and-so, like all these people have already said this before you. So please send me that information. I'd love to read all about it. I just have this idea that it all comes from fear, because that fear, I feel like, again, my own kind of philosophy that I'm working from and figuring out, fear causes us to act out. But the reason why fear is so scary is because I think that in it is this deep-seated doubt in our own identity and the identity of our higher power and his like ability or willingness to help us. Anyway, it's a working theory. Let me know what you think about that. Maybe by the time this airs, I'll have worked it out a little bit more, or maybe I'll have abandoned it completely. And if so, I'm very sorry that I just made your ears suffer for several minutes about that. But it helps to kind of put stuff out there too and see what other people think, how they feel, how they respond, because then it kind of helps you refine like your argument, your way that you're seeing things and lining things up. So let me know what you guys think if anything comes to mind. So release from fear. So we have good fear and bad fear. Most of my decisions were based on fear. And I actually wrote a blog post a while back for Metanoia Catholic. That's the coaching company I was trained by. And it was the very first post I wrote for them, all about how helpful their journaling was, but really sharing what their journaling had done for me. And it was this thing about fear and all about how kind of like how God was speaking to me in a way of like, basically, I guess you don't need to be afraid, but in a way that I could hear, in a way that made sense to me, and also kind of dispelling the belief that something has to be safe in order to not be scary. And that is not true. Things do not have to be safe in order to not be scary. And things, just because they're scary, doesn't mean that they aren't good. I think I'm just going to leave you with that. It kind of makes you think. So, just because something's scary doesn't mean it's bad. And see if anything pops up in your life that can kind of bring you to that. I can tell you for one thing, I was scared as heck to walk into my first meeting. Scared the dickens out of me. And I was, it was a good thing. It was the best thing. So perhaps you can think of something too. With that, I pass.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you feel that mindset coaching could help you on your 12-step journey, please feel free to reach out and find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. But more than that, it's important to me to give listeners like yourself a place where you do not need to feel alone on your 12-step journey. And for that reason, I've created a Facebook group. It's called Grateful Blessed Mess. And it's a place where listeners can go to add their own commentary on the share for the day, in addition to my own, and for us just to have a conversation or start a back and forth where people can find support in their 12-step journey. This is not a replacement for 12-step work. This is something outside of the 12 steps. It is simply something that has a heart for the 12 steps and those who are in it. And so, welcome. If you are here, chances are you may also be a bit of a mess. And I hope that you can learn to find some gratitude in the blessings that have come from your messes.